pakai bahasa Inggris ya Mas Gus ya?
Boleh.
Oke, jadi ya awalnya sih salamnya pakai bahasa Indonesia dulu ya. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi semua. eh Terima kasih Mas Gusti buat dikasih hasil undiannya nih. Jadi hari ini speaker mau sharing-sharing aja tentang apa namanya pengalaman sih dari apa namanya pengalaman pribadi mungkin yang bisa dibilang ini adalah hal yang sebenarnya iseng apa namanya eh pakai bahasa Inggris itu cuman tiba-tiba kok jadi sesuatu yang apa ya kayak jalan luas gitu aja. Nah, jadi mau sedikit sharing juga gimana caranya sih kalau dulu aku sendiri bisa sampai istilahnya tuh dibilang bagus dalam berbahasa Inggris pun enggak. Cuman at least kalau untuk dipakai untuk informasi, bertukar informasi, ngobrol sama orang segala macem, bisa dibilang ya pede gitu. Jadi kayaknya abis ini aku coba ini sih, apa namanya mulai presentasinya dengan bahasa Inggris. Oke, kita mulai. So, the topic for today is enhancing and building confidence in speaking English, which is presented by me, and the PowerPoint is being made. It's being made by for my wife. So thank you for her work in arranging the PowerPoint for me as well. Okay, so let's get started. Um, so I think the first thing first, in speaking English, the one thing that everyone should have is the confidence. The confidence is probably a really important aspect for, speaking in other language beside our own mother language that we have, which is probably some people have Indonesian or some people have Japanese and Sundanese and so on and so forth. So English itself, it's probably similar, but unfortunately, based on what I've experienced and I've seen it firsthand, people lack confidence in using it. So if we talk about confidence that is being written here, which I took it from three different sources, which is, the Cambridge Dictionary, the Teen Health, and the conclusion, and then, I think the last one is the, I don't know, website called Conclusion or something. Well, the point of confidence is being certain, you know, you have no doubt about it, but since you have no doubt, it doesn't mean that you are the right ones and everyone else is wrong. No, it just you are understand and capable of what you're doing. You have what can I say? A pretty good amount of knowledge, even though it probably lacks here and there, but you are ready to present it for everyone else. I think that's the easiest way how to put it. So for everyone and our beloved Scrum team and everyone else at EMP, I believe having confidence in speaking English is really, really important, Just know that you're able to do it and, you know, just have fun. There's nothing wrong without, there's nothing wrong if you're making mistake in speaking English. So that's one thing. Okay? And why confidence is important in speaking English? Well, you know, till this day, we know that English is probably the most used language, right? Almost every single places right now using. English kind of like a global language for everyone to communicate and exchange information. Um, well, I think having it in your bag or, just kind of like, you're having it, it kind of makes a lot of stuff easier, okay? Even like, you're reading something in English or you're writing a post or an article or information that necessarily helpful for other people. It is, well, I think it's the foundation, right? It also helps you to build a personal relationship as well with other peoples. And then not forget the aspect that having English as well, it's really helpful to be able to probably have an experience or maybe to like working on like some project in overseas or you're, you know, having a good career probably in like international company or something like that. But I'm sorry that I don't have experience to there yet, so it just, it's an experience that one of the experience that I've seen on my own. Okay. So don't f well, there's a lot of stuff. While the the effect of like having a good confidence in speaking in English. So there's a lot of things, but I think one of few things that I would say probably related to all of us in the moment, I think I would say these three, but feel free to have other opinion as well. But for this moment, I think these three, it's what can I say? I think like the most common thing that is related for us. Challenges in speaking English, which is, I would say, is probably the challenge that if from a beginner and for everyone else that actually able to speak in English, I think it's probably this for, some people fear of failure, maybe like they fail of like speaking it or like, you know, they are fear of like the information is not there. Some people are really afraid of like the information that they want to give to someone. It's just not reach the other parties properly, which I think that is why if we just started to like communicate using English, I think it's best to like reconfirm of like what we said earlier. So then, everyone has this same perspective of like the info that being sent before. Afraid of being judged, I think is the most common thing, especially for us Indonesian, that probably, when it's try to speak in English and then other will judge you as like, oh, you are maybe like people from Jakarta Selatan, you try to be cool and something like that, but it's probably not that it. You just really want to be able to use it, right? So, and the only way to like build, we're talking about the enhancing the confidence, right? The on One of the only way to boost or like to enhance it, like you gotta use it. And while some people, if they're being judged with their low self-esteem, they're probably gonna feel shy about that, you know? And I think it's also a factor that made them even scared to be to, s- to be to speak in English. Okay. And then we have mispronounce as well. Mispronounce, I think it's very common, obviously. And to be able to pronounce every single words or like, yeah, all every single things that is being written in English. It is not that easy because, I think we've just heard or understand like some of it, not everything, but only some. And I think it's okay to just like mispronounce it. But then again, mispronounce is just like, I would say, of just a small rocks in speaking in English, or like the challenge itself. Because if you're talking to like someone that probably has experience or using English as their mother language, as their first language, they're probably able to grasp the info pretty quickly. But in some occasion, even if we are using it to like someone that is not using English as their first language, well, I think it needs some kind of like explanation more about it. So don't be afraid about mispronounce. We all have it. Even don't forget about that we came from a different background, so having an accent or dialect that is probably different than what is word. It's different on like, or like it's difficult to say some words in English. I think that's okay. And then lastly, the word limitation. The word limitation, I think it's probably the common problem, right? Um, Everyone has their backs of words. I mean, like not they only, they understand only a few words to put up into sentences, which probably it could work and it could not work. So I think the only way to probably like make this even stronger, it's just kind of like finding more words or like hearing new words from using English. I think that's the only way. But the word limitation itself, it could be, I think I said it could be a trick, or like there's a way to like, even with the limitation of words that we have, we could arrange it into something that's probably, how can I say, it's informative for us and for other people. So with this kind of problem or the challenges that's we are facing, word limitation, it could be handled or it could be tackled with how smart we are in arranging the words to put up in the sentences. But then again, I think word limitation, it could be a hinder. So for this one, I suggest that try to find more resources. I think that's the way. Okay. So I think this is probably very common on like how you gonna improve it. the confidence in speaking English? Well, practice every single day. It doesn't mean have to be like really every single day, but as long as we are using it on like small stuff, it doesn't have to be a sentences. It doesn't have to be a complete essay. It probably need only like small things. Well, we have in our work we have merge requests, right? We have a readme and we do comments on the code. I think we could start small from there, for us the programmers. Or we could start writing English for the tickets in Jira maybe and maybe in when we are making threads. So it we could start from somewhere else before we start speaking it. But you know, s- if we are try just learn to speak using English in daily, it much better. It can give us a not a best result, but the improvement's gonna be there, honestly. Well, second thing, it's probably for those that want to have a proper lesson, which going to an English class, which I think it's really helpful for this one. But then again, um, remember about the how it can cost and the time consuming. So I think it's really not suitable for a lot of people, right? And number three, it's everything in English. Yeah, I think this is one of the probably common things to like how we are able to able to improve it with a small thing like write everything in English. And then besides this, I think I have a few advice as well. Or like back then, this is the one that helps me um like speaking English even better. Which probably I would say have a speaking partner, right? Having a speaking partner is really, really helpful. And back then, I am so lucky to have my brothers and my mothers as my speaking partner. So, it's a good thing to have someone to learn as well. So, like, it's not only you, or, you could just kind of like, you find someone that is better than you and just try to learn to get from what they already know. Okay. And I think I would suggest to stop watching movies with Indonesian subtitle because I think watching movies with English subtitle is really, really helpful, or maybe just don't use it at all. But this kind of thing it only applies to like an English spoken movies because if we are watching drakor, K-drama, or like, maybe like some serial stuff in Japanese or somewhere else, you still gonna need the English subtitles. But for like the English spoken movies, I would suggest just change it to English or just don't use it at all. And then I think one of my favorite activities right now is try to guess a music lyrics just by hearing it. Well, some people might find it difficult, or this is not stuff that they're enjoying it. I think that's okay. But what I experienced back then, try to guess a music lyric just by hearing it. It's really helpful. So you could understand the whole lyrics without, actually going to Google or something. So we just kind of like hear it and maybe we could write it down and then we just, we just know the whole lyrics on our own. And lastly, I think it's talk on your own. This is not a good practice. Some people might call you crazy, but for me, talking on my own, just having a conversation with myself in English are the one that helps me a lot. Okay. Back then, in my junior high and senior high, I probably joined several competition in English, which a competition that I didn't know that I enter because I just being told to get into the competition. And I think to prepare myself back then, because I don't have that much of learning time. Well, I just, talking on my own. So I think that's the one that helps a lot. And yeah, listening is important. Listening to like the English stuff is really, really important in boosting or enhancing our confidence in speaking English because then we know how some people put up their sentences. We can understand like how the pattern of language being put up. And, you know, I think one of other perks is just be able to understand of like people's accent because like the people in from America and from England and from Australia, they have their own accent and then, we just spot it right away on like, okay, so this is the speaker from Australia, let's say, and then the other one is from England. So just, the more we hear people talking English, I think it is easier to understand their dialects and where they came from. And this is really helpful since in English there is some words that is, if it's on American or it's on like the Great Britain, the England, they are different, like right? For example, like toilet and bathroom, airplane and aeroplane, like pants and trousers. I think that's a small example of like they're actually the same thing, but since they're using it in a different country, so they have their own words, and to be able to understand like which one they're using it on their own country, well, we just gonna need to learn to like listen stuff more, I guess. You can't be good if you're not making mistakes. I think this is a thing that everyone should embraces, right? Just say it, making mistakes. Don't worry about it. No one can judge you whatsoever. It's everything is on your mind. But my suggestion would be if you can't put your words into a sentence that fast, I think it's better to just like take your time slowly. You don't need to rush it. Just think through on what you want to say and just try to pick the words on like, you know, how many words that we are able to say probably. So, you just can it may seem like we are slow, but that's okay. Just take the time, put it on a sentence slowly, and just probably say it slowly as well. And I think there is no people like I don't think that they are not able to speak in English. I think it's because they're barely using it. So have confidence, have a good self-esteem on the English skill that we have. It There's no way that we can't speak in English. It's probably just because we are barely using it, okay? So be positive about it. Okay, I think that is all from me. Maybe is there any questions? So I give back to Mas Gusti maybe.
Yeah, thank you so much for your speech, Mas Vidi. So we have some questions here. First is from Mas Aha. So, Mas Vidi, which one is better to watch, American or British movie to learn English?
American or British movie? I think for starters, I prefer American movies. Um, since they all have the same accent and the way they talk, I think you know, you can just spot on easily. I think that's what I would say, I guess. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so better to watch American movie because the accent is more easy to
It's more
understand
common.
there.
Yeah,
Right.
the accent is more common for people to like spotting an English sorry, an English being said by an American rather than an English being said by a British. So, since we know that British has this whole accent throughout their country, right? From London, East London, West London, and all of the parts of London have, or all parts of England, they have their own accent, which is, I think it's really difficult for a beginner to understand. So I think, picking up American movie is much better for learning, I guess.
Okay. Oh, the next one is come from Manofi. How to upgrade ourselves from forget some vocabs when speaking English? This connection was very common for me. I also like to say what is it? What we call give me some tips.
Okay. This is gonna be silly, but one of the stuff that helps me throughout this problem was actually to just describe the thing or the vocabulary that we forget. I think that's probably the easier one to just like, you know, you describe of the things that you want to say. I think I think that's probably gonna make it easier though. It's not gonna be easier for everyone else, but um trying to how is it explain of the or like giving example of the vocabulary that you want to use. I think it could be helped though.
Okay, so giving an example like the vocab you like to describe it. So whenever you forgot or not really pretty sure what the words of it. Again, it comes from Mas Aha, yeah. How about Indian English? As an IT guy, I think it's important. So your point of view about Indian English, Mas Figi.
Well, Indian English is I think it's pretty weird in some way, but honestly, Indian English is pretty straightforward, to be honest. It's probably one of the, how let's say, Indian English it's pretty unique and it's pretty unique itself. So the only way to understand it, I think you either try to like watch or hear it numerous time, or if we have a chance to like confirm of what they said. I think it's the best one though. Good job. Good luck.
Yeah, so it's actually also challenging with the Indian, but actually what I learned from them is the confidence, like Mas Vidi said at the beginning, so you have to have the confidence about it. Okay, Banoffee. People say in English is easier because we need to do is just to replace T with D. Mas Vidi.
Um, well, I will say that, well, just let's say that I'm agree with them. That's all. I think you could do that as well. So if it works, it works.
If it works, yeah. Okay, if anybody wants to talk to us in bahasa, it's okay.
Ya, monggo,
Kalau mau
monggo.
pakai bahasa Indonesia boleh banget.
Ah, nggak apa-apa.
Nggak apa-apa.
Monggo.
Monggo, monggo. Nah, Mas Vidi, kalau
Hmm.
misalkan teman-teman ada yang pingin banget belajar dari awal nih, kayak the very first step-nya tuh gimana sih, Mas? Kayak what should I do, what do I do?
Oke. Jadi sih kalau dulu nih, em, aku sendiri sih, ya ini apa namanya? Ini personal preference ya. Ini dari pengalamanku sendiri. Dulu sih aku mulainya dari nontonin film sebenarnya Mas Gusti. Tuh
Hmm,
nontonin film. Habis itu coba apa namanya? Mereka ngomong apa ya? Coba aku ikutin ulang aja gitu loh. Ya
hmm,
kan. Biarpun waktu itu masih kayak nggak tahu, masih apa namanya? Ya keterbatasannya itu word limitation kan. Karena kan yang ada di film-film itu kan apa namanya? Mereka punya kata-kata yang kadang pun nggak umum gitu loh. Ya biasa namanya film kan juga pasti kan ada ya hal-hal yang baru gitu. Nah,
hmm,
jadinya biasanya aku ya udah koinin aja. Abis itu kalau misalnya ada kata-kata yang nggak aku tahu gitu, biasanya biasanya
baik.
aku catat, atau aku ingat-ingat, atau aku
Oh,
cari gitu loh. Ya kan. Nah, misal
iya,
ntar
iya.
kayak cari dapet nih. Atau biasanya aku simpen aja, lalu tiba-tiba kayak nonton film lain yang dipakai kata-kata itu juga, biasanya ke describe tuh. Nah,
Hmm,
ya udah, jadi di situ lama-lama kayak dapat oh satu kata ini tuh jadi kayak bisa diartikan sebagai ini gitu. Jadi kan
hmm,
kadang-kadang itu kan ada beberapa kata yang
hmm,
bisa apa ya? Bisa kita menjadikan sebuah kiasan, bisa kita jadi pakai juga sebagai sebuah explanatory karena itu
hmm,
sih. Jadi apa namanya? Eh ya gitu sebenarnya. Belajarnya dari situ kalau aku dulu ya kan. Jadi dari nonton film sama itu tadi sih apa namanya? Berdua aja ngomong sama sama adik-adikku itu. Ya, biarpun kita juga nggak ini banget ya, maksud belepotan juga dulu kayak gitu ya. Cuman ya pede aja. Yang penting apa namanya? Aku ngerti dia ngomong apa, dia ngerti aku ngomong apa. Itu itu sih.
hmm. Jadi ada speaking partnernya ya, buat itu ya, buat latihan ya.
Bagusnya sih gitu, karena kan yang kadang apa speaking in English itu kan tantangannya kan adalah kita tuh kadang suka grogi duluan sih ketemu sama orang, apalagi kayak
Hmm,
apa namanya ngomong itu sama orang yang bener-bener pakai bahasa Inggris dari lahir gitu. Wah tuh biasanya udah overthinkingnya macam-macam. Padahal ya kalau apa namanya
hmm,
eh pada kenyataannya ya mereka juga pakai bahasa Inggris sama kayak kita pakai bahasa Indonesia, pakai
hmm,
subjek, predikat, objek, keterangan itu nggak beraturan. Jadi kayak kan
hmm.
kalau di Inggris itu kan ada tuh kayak present tense, present
Iya,
continuous, ya kan,
iya.
past tense, past future segala macam bla 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 bla. Iya itu kayaknya bakal kepake kalau kita benar-benar nulis sesuatu yang mungkin formal atau kayak
Oh,
dari pengalamanku ya
oh,
formal atau mungkin kompetisi segala macam yang sifatnya akademis mungkin. Tapi
hmm,
ketika kalau untuk daily kayak kita gini ngobrol,
Hmm.
mereka juga kalau ngomong past tense tuh ya nggak kepake kan, kan tahu tuh ada verb satu, verb dua, verb tiga gitu kan, kan eat, ate, ya kan segala macem tuh kayak gitu-gitu. Itu mereka juga tuh mereka nggak kepake. Cuman memang apa namanya, yang penting itu adalah infonya, infonya dapat, infonya kekirim, udah sih itu aja yang penting.
Yang penting si lawan bicaranya itu paham apa yang kita omongin ya.
Hmm, ya makanya kayak tadi tuh Indian English. Wah, kalau ngomong orang Indian English tuh apa namanya, mumet mas. Udah aksen yang mereka aksen India banget, tapi mereka ngomong Inggris. Jadi agak mumet gitu. Ini gimana sih? Nah, sementara kadang-kadang tuh mereka tuh ngomongnya tuh mereka mau apa nih? Maksudnya mereka mau A. Tapi yang dijelasin tuh dari A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Jadi muter dulu. Ya kan? Jadi keputar dulu tuh iniannya tuh apa namanya penjelasan. Cuman ya itu emang apa namanya ya itu emang tantangannya sih. Cuman ya gitu loh, kalau Indian English ya itulah susahnya. Cuman ya itu kalau emang ngomong sama orang-orang yang kadang tidak menggunakan Inggris di sebagai first language ya, emang harus konfirmasi ulang sih biasa kayak oh kita dapatnya kayaknya kita dapatnya ini nih, tanyain lagi maksud is this what you mean bla 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 gitu. Nah yaudah tetap kalau misalnya dia ngerasa kita salah pasti dia ngomong oh no 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 baru tuh. Nah jadi lama sih itu aja, itu aja downside-nya itu doang tuh. IMP will have one day to fully using English. Amin. Amin.
Coachnya kayak Mas Vidi nih. Coach Vidi.
How to write a better MR comments in English? You do great, I think. Um, yeah, I think based on what I said before, the more so like either you are using English on your daily stuff, either it's listening, speaking, or writing. I think it could be implies to a lot of field as well. So I think my MR comments it's not really well written based on grammatical, but I try to make sure that the information is, you know, it's it's concise, it's clear. Nasaha tuh nanya-nanya. Gila, nobat on point. Ih, gila keren banget. Matur suwun lo, Mas. Tersipu malu aku. Nah, gitu.
Oke. Nah, terus misalnya kan tadi di rumah jelasin ya, kadang kan orang tuh suka takut ya untuk
Heeh,
ngomong, takut dijudge.
heeh.
Lu Inggris lo belepotan nih, berarti kan takut ya gitu. Terus
Mhm.
how to encounter itu ya Mas ya, Mas Bidi dari personal experience.
Hmm, dulu sih jadi aku pernah ada kesempatan untuk bisa ngomong tuh Mas langsung sama orang native speaker dari Kanada tuh. Nah, lo Kanada kan udah jelas-jelas pakai bahasa Inggris kan dari lahir tuh. Itu lebih ngeri lagi. Lebih ngeri lagi tuh berasa orang nggak bisa nggak pernah ngomong Inggris umur-umur langsung ngomong sama bule gitu.
Hmm.
Nah, itu mau nggak mau kalau dulu aku tulis malah. Jadi sebelum aku ngomong tuh aku tulis aku mau ngomong apa. Jadi aku kayak selalu bawa kertas gitu loh mas, kayak bawa kertas sama bawa pulpen gitu. Kalau misalnya ya just in case sih,
Aha.
atau apapun gitu, mau ngomong apa ya, mau jelasin. Jadi tapi aku selalu apa make sure omongannya tuh jangan yang terlalu kompleks. Jadi kayak simple tapi dipaham gitu loh.
Contohnya gimana Mas? Yang terlalu kompleks Mas.
Contohnya apa ya?
Hmm.
Dulu tuh, ntar. Yang nggak kompleks tapi ini. Oh, ini apa namanya? eh Apa ya waktu itu ya kayaknya ya? Ini aja maksudnya kayak kita lagi ada apa ya istilahnya ya misal aduh ini kalau nggak ada case bingung juga nih
Mau makan
gimana.
restoran gitu atau jalan.
Oh, ini apa namanya, misal aku tuh mesti izin
Hmm.
ya kan.
Hmm.
Nah kan kalau ngomong kayak I need to go because of this bla 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 bla, nah itu kadang-kadang kan suka ini aku cuma bilang aja I need to go urgent,
Hmm.
beres. Ya gitu.
Hmm.
Padahal kan sebenarnya kan urgentnya kan kayak so urgentnya apa ya kan. Terus
Hmm.
kayak I need to go-nya itu ya
Hmm.
emang urgent tapi kan karena apa gitu. I need to go kemana, karena apa itu kan biasanya kan kalau kalau orang yang udah mulai apa namanya
Hmm.
bisa nyusun kan I need to go to somewhere ya kan, ya entah ke rumah entah
Hmm.
kemana because of lalala gitu kan. Nah itu kalau
Hmm.
dulu karena aku kayak duh mesti pulang nih hal urgent atau segala macam ya udah aku cuma bilang I need to go urgent udah pulang aja
Hmm.
gitu. Ya mau nggak mau itu kan maksudnya kan kayak apa namanya emang nggak mendeskripsikan secara jelas maksudnya yang kayak tadi aku bilang nggak mendeskripsikan secara jelas alasannya gitu kan. Tapi
Hmm.
kan pada waktu itu yang aku pikir cuman dia harus tahu informasinya tuh yang dia yang apa namanya yang dia perlu paham
Hmm.
tuh apa, ya udah itu doang gitu loh
Hmm.
sebatas itu doang.
Hmm.
Ya udah berhubung karena orangnya nggak ribet juga jadi begitu dibilang urgent ya udah monggo tuh.
Langsung ya, silakan. Mau pergi gitu. Wajibkan English. Oh, ini masih
Waduh,
hari.
wah Japan English beda lagi tuh. Japan English tuh tricky tuh, seriusan.
Hmm.
Japan
Aduh,
Japan English, Korean English, terus apa ya?
Singapura. Singlish, Singlish.
Singlish masih mending, Singlish masih mending, Singlish masih mending. Thailand English, terus ini ada daerah kita tuh yang daerah Filipina, Myanmar gitu agak-agak lucu deh Inggrisnya. Terus apa namanya orang Jerman ngomong Inggris tuh lucu juga.
Hmm.
Orang Jerman ngomong Inggris ya itu banyak sih tapi kalau daerah-daerah kita Japan English sama Korean English tuh agak-agak ini sih agak-agak membingungkan. Thailand English juga.
Oh, banyak sekali ya.
hmm Tuh, ada
Hmm.
apa ya ternyata. Eh, gitu.
Nah, tadi mungkin tipsnya juga ini ya, maksudnya bisa nonton serial tapi subtitlenya atau bahasa Inggris ya.
Ya itu sih itu sebenarnya yang paling ini banget yang paling ngebantu kadang-kadang soalnya gini nih aku baru inget nih
Hmm.
kalau kita ngomongin subtitle pakai bahasa Inggris kan tuh kadang kadang ada orang ngomong di suatu kejadian apa. Ya
Hmm.
kan, itu kan ada kata-katanya tuh. Nah, itu ntar kita kita mungkin nggak bisa tahu secara langsung,
Hmm.
tapi misalnya dari sebuah kalimat yang diucapkan di satu momen, itu kan kita tuh ntar bisa ada kayak sedikit percikan-percikan kayak, oh, ini jangan-jangan dipakainya dalam situasi begini gitu loh.
Ah,
Nah, itu kan kadang suka ada tuh sedikit-sedikit. Kadang-kadang ada beberapa kali kan dia keulang lagi di satu momen yang sama kan. Otomatis kan kita kayak jadi kayak, oh ternyata tuh makainya di kondisi kayak gini gitu loh. Nah,
iya nih.
itu itu kadang-kadang tuh yang jadi kayak lama-lama kalau kalau dari aku ini sih benang merahnya bisa dari situ. Oh ternyata begini atau apa namanya penggunaannya. Oh ternyata artinya begini gitu.
Jadi, teman-teman bisa nonton nih. Apa aja harus dipakai.
Ya. I remember when Japan presenter interview Adele. Waduh,
Kalau tuh British ya, Mas.
Adele ya, British.
Hmm.
Hmm, tuh British orang Inggris. Oh.
Oke, ada lagi mungkin yang mau share-share gitu. Mas, kalau aku masih malu-malu, gimana nih, Mas? Ada tipsnya nggak, Mas Vidi? Kalau masih malu-malu, nih, Mas.
Masih malu-malu dalam ini ya, implementasinya ya.
Hmm.
Ehm, kalau emang, nah itu dulu tuh apa namanya, sebenarnya kan malu-malu ini kan pada dasarnya kan sebenarnya pasti bisa gitu loh. Ya nggak sih? Kayak sebenarnya bisa nih. Tapi kayak kalau kita pakai ketemu sama orang tuh kayak aduh gimana gitu. Nah, dari ku tadi itu yang paling ampuh adalah ngomong sendiri pakai bahasa Inggris. Ini kayak orang gila sih bener. Tapi itu ngaruh banget ternyata. Entah di motor, entah di kamar mandi, entah apa segala macem. Nah, itu sih ternyata sangat ampuh ya ngomong sendiri tuh. Tapi jangan sering-sering, maksudnya kayak ya tempat-tempat tertentu aja. Kamar mandi bolehlah, ya kan di motor tuh oke. Nah,
Heeh.
ya kan. Jadi supaya kita apa namanya, ya ngebuat kita pede ngomong tanpa ini loh, tanpa kayak ae. Nah itu kan kadang-kadang tuh yang
Ah,
kurang enak tuh sebenarnya. Nah,
ah,
itu,
gitu ya.
itu.
Jadi teman-teman bisa self practice ya ngomong sendiri apa
Heeh.
pelan dialog gitu ya.
Kalau ada temennya juga nggak apa-apa gitu. Ada temennya yang sama-sama belajar tuh juga jauh lebih enak sebenarnya. Itu. Itu jadi bisa kita apa namanya improve-nya bareng-bareng juga tuh.
Hmm. Ada itunya ya, emang people
Mm-mm.
supportnya ya.
Kan jadi ada tolak ukur juga kayak oh ternyata dia udah bisa gini kita belum bisa nih oh ya udah nih kita belajar dari dia gitu. Ya kan?
Hmm.
Atau cari orang malah yang udah bisa sekalian gitu nah itu kan cuman kadang-kadang kan biasanya kan kalau kita belajar sama orang yang udah ini semua kan biasanya kan agak-agak malu-malu tensin gimana gitu kan nah itu juga paling itu nah jadi kalau emang paling enak kalau emang kita nggak dapat partner belajar ya paling enggak coba ngomong sendiri aja kita buat-buat kalimat-kalimat yang apa ya, ya kita buat kalimat-kalimat sendiri gitu loh.
Hmm. Belajar mulai ini ya, kalimat kamu sendiri ya. Itu teman bisa
Mm-mm.
bikin kayak dialog ya. Mulai.
Ya, bikin dialog aja dialog simple on daily activities gitu.
Hmm. Boleh. Ini Mas Dwi Nurianto nih. British people watching Spider-Man is Peter Parker. Oh, Peter Parker.
Oh, Peter Parker, cuk, ngomongin
Peter
apaan?
Parker. Peter Parker.
Peter Parker, iya sih. Saya kira peta paka apaan? Oh iya, iya, bener, bener, bener.
Peter Parker.
Masuk, masuk. Jokesnya masuk. Jokesnya masuk. Boleh, boleh,
Ya.
boleh. Aku agak mikir sih. Aku agak nggak maksudnya apa. Oh ya, udah, iya juga sih. Kalau dipikir-pikir.
Peter Parker. Oh. Nah, boleh nih, siapa lagi nih? Ada yang mau nanya-nanya lagi nih, tipsnya nih mungkin. Mungkin termotivasi juga pingin ke Manchester United kan, nonton tampilnya.
Wih. Ah, jangan lah Manchester United lagi bala. Mending ya klub lain dulu aja deh nonton. Ah, Liga 2-nya nggak apa-apa deh, bener.
Oh gitu.
Liga apa namanya Liga 2-nya apa Inggris tuh mendingan jangan nonton MU deh.
Oh, gitu. Aku sudah perkuliahan ya. Ya Allah. Oke. Ada lagi kan nih teman-teman yang mau nanya.
Monggo, monggo.
Mangga. Kalau ada udah makan belum? Ada
Sorry.
ngomongin. Ada kalau bapaknya ngomong pakai bahasa Inggris ya.
Enggak. Aku belum ngajarin dia bahasa Inggris sih, Mas untuk anakku karena kemarin dapat apa ya sempat dapat info tuh kalau anak
Hmm.
umur berapa gitu baru kalau bisa tuh udah jarang ngomong bahasa Inggrisnya. Jadi kayak umur sekian
Oh,
sampai sekian pakai bahasa ibunya dulu, ya, jadi berarti bahasa Indonesia kan. Ntar begitu udah umur berapa baru papa diajarin bahasa Inggris gitu ya.
oh gitu.
Gitu. Atau enggak ntar anaknya bingung mau pakai bahasa yang mana nih. Jadi kayak speech delay gitu. Tapi kejadian
Oh,
kan itu apa namanya ada yang cerita kejadian gitu.
speech
Ya,
dulu.
ya kan bingung jadinya mau pakai bahasa yang mana nih. Ya kan anaknya bingung, bab orang tuanya sih suka-suka gitu. Kok kira dirimu masih ABG Mbak aku, Mbak Fitri aku anakku udah udah mau baru mau setahun ini.
Wih, ada gitu.
Ya
masih
muka
galau.
muka masih ini sih. Muka masih muda ya alhamdulillah kalau kayak gitu.
Pakai skincare Korea masih video.
Nggak kelihatan Mas. Kan. Tapi ini aku beneran nikah yang bener loh ya, Cik ya. Bukan 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 sembarangan nih. Jadi ini beneran.
Aduh.
Kamu mau lihat apa? Mana nih? Gitu.
Hmm, oke nih. Ada lagi mulai ini teman-teman mungkin. Oh, kalau misalkan ini Mas, kalau misalkan ada eh, teman-teman yang ingin nyekolah yang anaknya di
Eh,
bisa Inggris.
eh.
Kamu ada mana tuh saya Vidi?
Kenapa kenapa?
Iya Mas, kalau ada orang tua yang ingin ngawasin anaknya bisa Inggris, mau aku pukul.
Kalau aku sih sekarang ngelihat 2023 les itu udah gimana les bahasa Inggris ya terutama ya. Kayaknya mending di YouTube sih lebih banyak info apa udah lebih banyak informasinya. Karena apa namanya biasanya tuh apa ya? Menurutku tuh belajar bahasa Inggris tuh yang pertama harus dibuat itu adalah ininya sih, yaitu confidence-nya itu dulu sebelum biasa tuh soalnya kalau masuk kita ke
Heeh.
ya aku kan ngerasain tuh berapa kali aku tes bahasa Inggris aku langsung belajar kayak grammar, langsung belajar apa namanya verb, langsung belajar ya vocabulary segala macem. Nah, itu pusing tuh, pusing banget. Jadi kadang-kadang tuh apalagi kalau mesti naik level, mesti apa namanya harus bisa nyusun ini itu pusing. Jadi kayak mending belajarnya itu menurutku ya apa namanya mending dari YouTube tuh nggak masalah karena ya soal nanti nyusun kayak gitu sebenarnya bisa sendiri karena yang penting tuh yaitu kalau nggak ada kalau kita nggak ada PD-nya malah itu jadi repot sih kalau dari yang aku ngeliat itu karena aku lihat mas ada temanku yang ikut bahasa Inggris tuh sampai levelnya tinggi lah intinya di satu lembaga mana gitu tapi ya ketika apa namanya diajakin misal pas belajar bahasa Inggris pas conversation gitu malah kagok gitu loh sama aja jadinya mas jadi kayak waduh ternyata nggak apa namanya nggak jaminan juga gitu jadi emang kalau mau belajar bahasa Inggris di kelas aku sih kalau sekarang bilangnya mending kayak kalau emang ada beberapa orang yang rasa kayak ikut les ya monggo gitu mungkin mereka emang cocoknya dengan situasi kayak bimbel segala macam les gitu kan yang ini tapi kalau emang mau yang agak lebih santai yang kayak learning by doing secara pelan-pelan yang mesti dibuat itu pertama ya confidence-nya dulu ntar biar materi itu kayak di YouTube tuh udah banyak banget sih gitu. Wah, ini lagi yang belajar bahasa Inggris belajar pesantren. Wah, ini lebih keren lagi berarti ini.
Wih, keren, keren. Mas Adi.
Mas Adi Nugroho.
Jahat.
Hmm.
Sungkep. Iya. Ada lagi nih teman-teman yang oh, ada siapa tuh? Oke, kalau nggak ada, kita akhiri untuk selamat dulu ya. Thank you Mas Vidi.
Terima kasih juga Mas Gusti. Terima kasih semua.
Nah, kita selanjutnya sesi will spin. Berarti ya, berarti ya, berarti ya.
Halo,
Halo.
Adil. Oke,
Ah,
itu ya.
iya,
Nah
siapa?
ya, ini sebetulnya tinggal suitan doang ini.
Iya, siapa?
Mbak Cika sama Mas Patal.
Eh,
Izin sharing ya, guys.
apa?
Thank you, Mas Vidi, untuk sharingnya. Suitan nih, ini mengakhiri pas banget akhir tahun ya. Sampai tanggal 29 nih.
Iya.
Yes. Mas Patal. Dan Mbak Cika.
Selamat ulang tahun. Selamat Mas Pata.
Salah, Bu.
Selamat Mbak Cika untuk
Nggak
menutup
ke ini sama aku. Lupa nggak ke screenshot? Ada yang nge-screenshot nggak tadi?
Enggak. Ya Mas Pata
Pulang
lagi.
ya sampai dapat Mas Pata.
Oh.
Tetap Mas Pata ya emang.
Judulnya Mas Pata.
Oke, congratulations Mas Pata dan Mbak Cika mengakhiri tahun 2024.
Tiga. Mbak. Oke, thank you Mbak Tia. Nextnya mungkin ada dari Mbak Ayam mungkin mau menyampaikan sesuatu. Iya. Oke. Baiklah, teman-teman.